speak to me. They tell you things that no one hears and no one sees. What is the truth that we all want from you? You're constantly afraid and always take the blame. With faith I won't fail, I just need a sword. I openly provide and constantly prevail. I'm not a curse but a godsend. The greatest king allows this, said forevermore. My country I adore. Creature here, you tell us lies of things that you have never seen. We know what we can trick you on. You swear to tell the truth, no matter what we prove. With faith I won't fail, I just need a sword. I openly provide and constantly prevail. I'm not a curse but a godsend. The greatest king allows this, said forevermore. My country.
And good evening. Tavern Tales presents Storytime will begin shortly. This is our 6th and penultimate week, and we're starting in on chapter 39. We've been extremely blessed with the opportunity to read for you Chris Ng's Heart and Soul Fist. This is a full cast event with only one Tuesday left until we finish. So without further ado, let's get into things, shall we? Not yet. And oh, I guess not. Maybe I'm starting to get over my spirit phobia. In case I don't make it, open this. Star signed it. spirit seeking, if you're a spirit of seeking, can you find my mom, the other guardian? Fakes? Sorry, I had to try. Oh, so you can pull spirits into the mortal world too? Uh, we need a rendezvous point. Your house? The Haru Clan Center? Well, this is certainly remote. Did I just get pulled through the spirit world? Does anyone remember who Uncle Robert is? Nicole, be Uncle Robert. Hey! Jane has something really important to say. Listen to her. Please. At home, and that's gone. Though a lot of the old tomes and stuff were moved out of the house once I told Mom I didn't want to be the guardian. I think it was Grandpa's house. It's unprotected, but at least it's unpacked. that's me. I didn't know that. Why is that? Jade is hard to find in the spirit world, but we'll make it work. Is that me again? No, we should be fine right here, right? Actually, there is somewhere we should go. Mind if I pat your head a second? Who's James? Am I James? I am James. My apologies, everyone. I've never done this James character before. It is. We're gonna go cash in some favors. I taught her the Guardian Fist. She needed help. You understand that. You gave her those iron fans, didn't you? It's not forbidden, just classified. I still believe it. She needed it, and it's a good thing I taught her, because she'd be dead right now if I hadn't. She's good at it. I've better than me. I'm right here, you know. Look, she can't tell you what's going on. There's a possibility that sharing the information could cause a lot of trouble. It was a risk even to come to you. Nobody asked for this. I'm sorry, did you want to marry the Guardian? She doesn't believe me either. To think we wanted to be Harukai Juni, we could never even keep up with her. That's not unusual. A lot of details sometimes only appear in the spiritual world. No, you don't, because you already know how. Give me a confused look. There we go. When you were fighting the Archesi this morning, he threw an illusion at you, and you redirected it right back at him, right? Well, the ribbon didn't redirect the energy. You did. I used the Guardian Fist to disrupt the flow, then take control of it, letting the attacking energy flow into me, and then out again. It's not as directed or concentrated as you did with the ribbon, so you can't use their illusions against them, but it completely blocks them out. They float away harmless into the wind. That's why we keep praising you. You're very intuitive. music gate. I'll keep watch. You got any extra fish? Well, I like mythology and research, and I am the guardian. Maybe it's like guiding me or something? I think Sarah's still alive. You said it was blackthorn vines that captured her, right? That's a natural ability of Hermetilius, a type of plant that exists in the spirit world. Peter was telling me that most of the theorists aren't sure if plants in the spirit world are also spirits. It's a divisive issue. Anyway, the point is, I think Krell somehow tamed one of those Hermetilius plants and has been using it to absorb the abilities of other spirits. The orb is a type of fruit that the plant bears. The only thing that I can't figure out is how he's using the powers himself. According to the books, the orb fruits can't bestow spiritual powers, only give them a big energizing boost if you happen to have the same power. According to the book, it takes about 2 days for a spirit to be completely dissolved into the orb fruit. Oh, that's Peter. Yes, but we don't quite know how to reverse the process yet. There's probably another way to do it. How do you mean? I thought Mochi was the spirit of seeking. Yeah, I remember. I was so angry and terrified. I thought you were going to die for me, and I couldn't let that happen. Something in me sort of Star said the same thing. That makes me sound so selfish. You wouldn't think twice about doing it, would you? I can judge myself, though. And I know that if I didn't try, I'd carry the guilt around forever. I think that's scarier than tapping into my own superpower now. I believe you. We should tell everyone else the plan. Amma? What do you call your dad? Same with me. Though I guess it's because my mom is American. I've never really thought about that. But still, I have to call potato chips crisps when my dad is around. Otherwise, he gets confused. He's lived in the U.S. for 18 years. You'd think he would have learned that one by now? Yeah, my grandparents and my uncles on that side. We go over every summer for a couple of weeks. The proper term is the UK, and you should come with us this summer. I'd love it if you were there. My cousins are okay, but they're kind of strange. Though you'll hear me start talking in a weird half accent after a while. My parents said that I had a really strong accent when I was a kid, but I guess I grew out of it. I think we'll have some recordings back at the house. probably still James. You can't fight Krell alone, Jane. I'm the only other person who can use the Guardian Fist technique. I may not be as good at it as you are, but I can still hit him as hard and back you up. Which is exactly why I'm going to be there. I think it's a good idea. can't sleep? Me neither. It's okay. It's just stuff. I can get more. Dad says we have a really good insurance policy and everything is covered. The officials say that the fire was caused by the car that crashed. Wonder how they'll explain the giant holes from Krill stomping around. No, not at all. He's just relieved I'm safe. I can't believe you're still awake after everything you've done today. You didn't know you were going to get attacked the other times. You sound like me. My brain is running in loops like that all the time. I read until I pass out. It helps to keep my brain occupied. But it isn't working right now. Yeah, much better. If this has taught me anything, it's that I definitely never want to be Guardian.
Here, amongst the buildings of my clan, is going to grant me a little strength. Never mind the fact that it's in ruins. What is this place anyway? I asked Andrew. Peter?
I was just wondering that myself. I've never heard.
This is an old temple? Pictures later, making plans to see the archives. You're awfully confident we're going to survive this.
Yes, I am. I believe in it. Finding a jade weapon was a long shot.
He points out.
They'll be here soon.
I might recommend we start now.
My dad says. He, like Peter, is also in full Hadouk battle armor, though my dad is still wearing his glasses, which ruins the effect of the badassery a little.
I think you were wise yesterday to suggest that if we can't win quickly that we retreat. If Henry and Daniel are here...
Henry won't give up, and Daniel will try to inspire us to go harder. Yeah, that makes sense. I say. Okay, let's do this.
Be careful, Jane.
My dad says. You too. Dad and Peter turn and rush off to the position. I walk over to a medium-sized stone pyramid and rush up the stairs. At the top is Machi and Andrew. From the top of the pyramid, I can see down to a large open area where James is waiting. It's time, I tell them.
Okay, it might take me a second, Miss Jane. I haven't pulled something so powerful before.
Machi says. You're gonna do great. Remember, if things look bad, you'll need to get Andrew out of here first. Me last.
Yes, Miss Jane. I hope we are able to save Miss Starr.
Me too. I walk to Andrew. Once we get to Krell, hide in the pyramid until we either win or get out of here. Don't use your power at all. He'll sense it immediately. I lean forward.
I got it.
I lean forward and kiss him. I love how easy that has become for me. I open his hand and place a roll of ribbon into it. Grips it tightly.
Go get him, Tiger.
He says. Ooh, Spider-Man reference. You just keep getting sexier, I say. I head back down the stairs. I walk towards James and my heart is pounding. I wasn't nervous at all this morning, but now the reality crashes in like an ocean wave. I take several deep breaths and let the spiritual energy flow through me. This is the energy of the Hadouk clan. It is the energy that will carry me through this battle.
Ready?
Yes. James turns and gives the signal. From the top of the pyramid, I see Andrew using the ribbon to bind his energy to Machi, the same way I did with Tristan. He closes his eyes and takes several deep breaths until it starts to glow a very faint blue. The light travels along the ribbon and then envelops Machi completely.
Woo! Now that's a boost of power. Just give me a second here. I can smell him real good now. Wow, being the guardian is fun.
Machi squeezes his eyes shut and sniffs at the air. I find myself squeezing my fists over and over. Come on, Machi. You can do it, I whisper.
Aha! There he is. Hoo-cha!
Machi casts his reel. The lure vanishes into the middle of the air, the fishing line still glowing blue with the guardian power. It only takes a couple of seconds before Machi is reeling it back in as fast as he can.
Grr, come on, big guy, get over here.
You need more power.
Andrew declares. He concentrates, and the blue light around his body flashes brighter. The surge of guardian energy is enough. Krell is dragged through an invisible barrier. He lands in front of James and I, facing away. Krell roars, caught off guard. Machi follows the retreat plan. He unhooks the lure from Krell while Andrew shuts off his power. Krell! I yell. The turtle's spirit turns around.
I should have known it was you. You are tenacious, if nothing else, Hadouk girl. And I see you brought a friend.
Give me Star back. Now.
The Arcasi girl? Oh no, I will not be doing that. Her power is much too useful for someone like me.
This is your last warning. If you don't hand it over, I'm going to take it from you by force.
You don't have the skill or the strength.
Krell sneers dismissively.
Now I'm going to be on my way.
There's a thunderous impact. Krell stumbles and falls to one knee.
She said, give back the Arcasi.
James says, standing behind Krell, having just kicked him in the back.
Or there's plenty more where that came from.
You two, you're not normal, Hadouk. You're stronger somehow.
He's just stalling, I say. We've given him 3 chances. We attack. Krell is ready for it this time. He doesn't rise to his feet, but instead leans back onto a shell, pointing his feet at James. James throws a guardian fist punch and it impacts the sole of Krell's foot. Krell spins on a shell and uses the momentum to get back to his feet and spins a back fist attack on me. His fist is easily the size of my torso, and I'm forced to drop to my knees to slide beneath it. It takes a few extra moments for me to get back on my feet, and by that time, Krell is already in another defensive stance, squaring off against me.
I should take your power, whatever it is. I am already a formidable fighter, but every advantage will help in my new role as Spirit Guardian.
He throws a lumbering left punch towards me, and I step inside of the attack easily. I'm in range now. I throw all of the energy I can into my right fist and drive it into his armpit, hoping to dislocate his shoulder from the impact. Except, Krell turns into butterflies. The sudden burst of Guardian Fist shakes away the illusion from around me, and I see Krell standing about 20 feet to the left of where I thought he was. He has his arms crossed and throws his head back in a maniacal laugh.
You thought it would be that simple?
He boasts.
Jane, he's gonna use another one. Remember to redirect the energy.
James says. Right, ready. Krell's eyes glow pink, and a cloud of illuminated pink energy rushes around us. As the pink disappears, I find myself standing in the center of an empty field. The same field where I first met Krell. No, wait, that was impossible. He doesn't have the ability to move people across the spirit world like that. This is another illusion. I focus on the flow of my energy. Most of it will be mine, but some of it will be his or Star's. All I have to do is redirect the energy out of me. Redirect! I declare, holding my open palm out ahead of me. Nothing happens. Come on! I try to calm down, except I have no idea where Krell is or what he's doing. Am I already being eaten or turned into an orb? What happened to James? No, James. Focus. I have to get this energy out of me. I have to free my mind of the illusion. Focus! The crack forms in reality and falls away in a shard. Through the gap, I can see that the fire on Krell's head has turned pink, and his eyes continue to glow with Star's stolen power. James throws a hard Guardian Fist punch at Krell's jaw, and it connects. It doesn't send Krell reeling back the way I hoped it would.
Jane, snap out of it!
He yells. Krell swipes with his claws, but James ducks underneath it and tries to follow it up with a heavy kick. But I think he messed up the Guardian Fist aspect because that kick does nothing at all. James wasn't lying before. I am better at the Guardian Fist than him. If this plan is going to work at all, I need to get out of here. Now. Pink. Think pink. Feel the energy, not of Krell, but of Star. Star energy is kinder and warmer than Krell's is. I just need to find the streak of that inside the sea of green energy living inside of me. There! It's subtle. A thin thread that snakes itself through my body and soul. I hold up an index finger and let the pink energy naturally escape through the end. More cracks form in the reality, and soon it all comes crashing down. Krell hammers on James with his massive left fist. James raises an arm and catches the attack, holding it above his head. He's glowing bright with soul fist energy, but he can't throw a counterattack. Krell seems to know this too, because as he reaches back with his right claws, it swipes at James. I leap. I catch the right claws and use the Guardian Fist to slam them into the ground. The ground cracks, and I manage to shove Krell's claws about a foot beneath the surface. He snarls. I see an orange glow radiating from his half-open mouth. I stand on his hand and throw a hard uppercut into his jaw. His mouth slams shut, and the force is enough to send him rolling back. He instinctively curls into a ball and rolls about a dozen feet away from both of us before popping back into a battle stance. Huh, what an idiot. You can't even use those Ocasey powers. Whoever gave you that power stealing trick really wasted their time, I yell.
Did you just taunt him to use more illusions?
James asks. He's only had those powers for a day, and he might make a mistake. I'd rather that than the dragon fire he's been practicing with for 50 years.
Good point.
He mutters. Krell uses more of Star's power. He fades out of the view for a second, then returns as 3 separate Krells. They start to flank us on either end to form a basic pincer move.
Don't hold back. Who knows which one is the real one?
James says. Ugh. I hate it that he's right, but he is. I could probably ruin the illusion with the smallest amount of spiritual energy, but then I would get counterpunched into the oblivion. I need to throw everything into each attack. I load up the Guardian Fist and wait for the nearest Krell to get to me. When he's in range, I dodge his claw attack and throw the punch, full power. It bursts into butterflies. Crap! I spin around to look at James. He's already landed a blow on his too, which is now turning into dust. The third one is almost on us. Damn it! I yell. Come on, Krell, get out of here!
Jane!
James grabs my arm and pulls me to the side. One of Krell's arms floats in the middle of the air and swipes where I was standing.
Position 2!
James yells. The two of us run full speed straight across the flat field and into the tree line. Past that, there's a small structure made of block stones. It's pretty low, rising only to about chest level, but it should give us a second to breathe.
He'll probably throw another big illusion. Get ready!
James says. As he predicted, a large cloud of glowing pink light descends on us. The illusion that begins to form looks very pleasant, especially since I'm wearing a wedding dress in it. I think I'm getting married at a beach property. No, we are getting married in the illusion. Star and I. She's alive in there. I focus on the foreign energy and once again let it exit through my fingertips. James is doing his version of it too because he's still alert.
You okay?
James asks. Yeah, I'll be fine.
Get them.
Krell yells. I peer over the wall and see that there is now a veritable army of Krells. They're marching at us from every direction. Do you think he's hiding in one of those? I ask.
Definitely. I'm not sure how we're going to check them all. Why can't the Haruk clan be good at guns?
I look at the heavy blocks sitting around us, then grin. Hey, James, let's go earthbender on them. He looks at me, frowns, looks at the wall, then nods in understanding.
Ready when you are.
I take a breath and charge up the guardian fist in my palm. Then I slap one of the stones. It flies hard and fast, passing through a dozen illusions, bursting each one into a swarm of butterflies. I hear another impact behind me as James launches his own stone into the approaching Krell army. We find a rhythm. Stone after stone after stone flies across the battlefield, destroying the illusionary Krells.
I'm running out.
James says.
Last 5.
I grunt and hit another stone. It bursts through about 7 fake Krells before it stops and explodes into dust. There! We both turn and hit as many stones as we can at Krell. The bombardment is effective at first. The Guardian Fist was letting us throw them at an incredible high speed. But I can see that the flame on his head is starting to turn pink again. Keep them going, I say. Before James can ask what I mean, I vault over what little's left of the wall and charge straight at Krell. I hear the stones launching behind me. I dodge out of their way using them as covering fire to get closer. I rush past Krell, skid to a stop, and grab his tail. Energy gathers, stops, charges, floods, and releases all in a span of the heartbeat. I pick Krell off his feet and swing him over in a circle. I look around for a target. There. I throw all the last bit of energy into my legs and throw Krell as hard as I can at another stone structure. He hits it and collapses into the rubble.
Yeah, Jane!
James yells, pumping his fist. I wish I could feel as excited as he is. It's not going to be enough. I turn around and look over to Machi and Andrew. Andrew's head is peering just above the edge of the lookout. I wave at him frantically. He stands up and swings his arm out. The ribbon shoots out from his hand and streaks at me, elongating until it connects with my palm. I grab it, and the ribbon comes spinning back into my control. The stone structure continues collapsing. Krell has smashed his way out of the side. His flames are bright red, as are his eyes. Smoke pours out of his nostrils and escapes between his massive teeth.
Insolent whelp.
Krell cries out. His voice is beastly, barely even understandable.
I have played with you long enough. Now you will.
Krell lets out a loud grunt and flies back into the rubble pile.
Hey, Janie.
Henry calls out. He holds up a giant warhammer above his head. The hammerhead is made of jade.
Did you know that jade enhances the effects of the soul fist energy you put into it?
He calls out.
It's pretty cool. I think I'm going to hit this turtle some more.
Oh, I'm Daniel. Okay. Get over here! I don't even know how Daniel talks.
Daniel scolds after appearing next to me. Henry rolls his eyes but runs over to my side, warhammer still in hand.
Sorry it took us so long.
Daniel says.
Harder to find Jade and this character's voice than I thought.
But totally worth it. Look at this hammer, Jane. I'm going to open so many walnuts with it.
Is that going to be enough to crack Krell's shell? I asked.
Krell's shell. Oh, that's me. Doubt it, which is why I let him carry the hammer. I think this is going to work better.
Daniel says, holding out a long pole covered in a sheet. I throw the sheet aside, revealing a bright jade green spear. A spear. Let's finish this, I say. I toss the spear back to Daniel, who looks perplexed. Use it for now. I'll call for it when the moment's right.
You got it. Hey, you didn't bring anything back for me?
James says, running to catch up to us.
You didn't ask.
Henry says.
Oh, okay. Dumbass.
James retorts.
You can use the Guardian Fist. You'll be fine.
I'm
Henry
barely
says.
keeping up. It's Jane who has the Guardian Fist mastered.
Quit it, brothers, I say. No messing around this time. Close distance, get to him on his back, don't let up for a second.
Why do I have to be two brothers? Choi on 3!
Daniel yells.
1, 2, 3!
Choi!
My family is so dumb, but I love them. We charge. Krell climbs out of the rubble, shaking stones and dust from his body. He roars like a dinosaur, baring his teeth and claws in a display that would have terrified me just a couple of days ago. I yell back. We all do. Krell starts lumbering forward, but a bright green bolt of light streaks through the air and bursts into space. Another follows right after, keeping Krell from getting his bearings. When we pass one of the dead trees, Peter leaps down, his bow in hand. He knocks another arrow, charges it with Soulfist energy, and lets it fly.
You got jade arrows? Come on!
James grumbles. Peter joins our charge, firing arrows one after the other. Krell roars. Henry swings his hammer, but Krell steps aside, forcing him to slam it into the ground. Krell swings back with his tail to strike Henry's legs from underneath him, then continues turning. Daniel's spear strikes, glances off the back of the shell, as does the arrow that Peter tries to shoot with him. Krell spins until he faces Henry again, throwing a claw at his chest. James slides in between, using the Guardian Fist to grab the claw mid-strike. Daniel sends Soulfist energy through the spear and lances it through Krell's elbow. It's enough for James to push Krell off balance and onto his back, where Krell once again curls into a ball. Not this time, I yell. I throw the ribbon and mentally command it to encircle Krell and come back to my other hand. I grip tight and pull hard, putting as much strength as I can into my legs. It's enough to stop Krell's momentum, and he uncurls in response. Peter fires an arrow at his face, but Krell crushes it in his mouth. I pull the ribbon back. Henry's back on his feet and wallops Krell's shell with the hammer. It jars Krell and doesn't stop him from grabbing James. He throws James into Henry, and the pair of them collapse entangled. Peter gains a little distance to fire more arrows, but Krell looks at him and makes a kissing motion with his reptilian lips. A spear of fire leaps out of his mouth, forcing Peter to dive to the ground to avoid it. I jump up and punch Krell in the side of the jaw, turning him a full 180 degrees. While he's recovering, I leap onto his shell and scramble to get to his shoulder. Daniel is falling right behind me. Krell bends forward. I don't know why, but my gut is screaming at me that we're in danger. Jump! I yell. Daniel dives to the left while I vault to the right. Spikes snap out of the back of Krell's shell, each at least a foot long and razor sharp. He spins and uses his tail to knock Daniel to the side. We're facing each other.
I have been in so many battles, Haru girl. Do you know how many of them have tried to mob me like this? I'm an armored warrior. I am made for this type of battle. I once fought off 100 greedy spirits at once without a single ally of my own. And you mortals have the audacity to challenge me? You, still a child, wish to defeat the mighty Krell, the spirit guardian?
My name is Jane, I snarl. He lunges forward to bite at me, and I shuffle back out of range. I snap a kick at his jaw, but he uses one of his massive arms to block it. I send another kick, this one carefully aimed for his wrist joint, adding even more explosive Guardian Fist power into it. He must be more battle savvy than I think because he turns his wrist just slightly, letting the force hit the meat of his arm rather than joint. He swings a counter punch with his right arm. I don't try to block it, and instead slide underneath it. I also let the ribbon fly behind me and loop around his arm. I take hold, charge at my legs, and pull to throw him off balance again. He stumbles and leans, but doesn't fall. The sound of fishing reel fills the air. Being pulled by the invisible line, my dad appears right above Krell's head. He lands on his back and slams something in his hand right into the side of Krell's neck. Krell roars and thrashes, sending my dad tumbling towards another stone building. Dad! I release the ribbon and use the Guardian Fist to leap. I catch him in mid-air and we both hit the ground hard, rolling over and over as the force dissipates. As soon as we stop, I'm on my feet. Are you okay? I ask.
Yeah, fine.
Dad says, grumbling to himself. We both look up at Krell, who is pulling the object out of his neck. He holds it up and examines it in the dim light of spirit world.
My tooth. The one lost in the mortal world. Very clever, Haruka warrior. Only something as strong as myself could puncture my defenses, but I'm afraid that my own tooth is not enough to...
Krell doesn't get to finish his speech. Daniel yells and thrusts the jade spear through Krell's foot. Before Krell can react to that, James and Peter charge forward, carrying Henry on their shoulder. Henry reels back to his hammer and slams it hard into the top of Krell's chest. Krell lurches back as he did twice before, losing balance. Except this time, one of his feet is pinned to the ground with the jade spear. He tries to curl into a ball, but between his spike and his pinned foot, he can't. Now is my best chance. I run and leap onto Krell's chest. When he opens his mouth to spit fire at me, I throw the ribbon in. Get the orb! The ribbon dives into Krell's throat and into his very essence. His eyes widen in surprise and maybe panic. The ribbon keeps diving deeper and deeper until it tightens in my hand, pulling gently. It has star. I pull. Krell shuts his mouth and grabs the ribbon with both of his powerful hands. I sneer, drawing in spiritual energy, filling my body to the brim. I feel like I might split a seam at any moment, and all of the energy in my soul is going to leak out. It feels like the wheel is going to spin itself off its axle. It feels like I might burn up with all this power, but I have it under control. I need help, I call out. James is behind me immediately, arms around my waist. I feel our strength multiply as Daniel, Henry, Peter, and Dad all jump up to form a chain. We pull as a family. The green light from our soul fist fills the whole area.
Why risk yourself for the Arcasi girl? She betrayed you. She was the one who told me where I could find you and the Guardian.
She's my friend.
Don't be a fool, mortal. She's nothing but illusion and manipulation. I should know. I have her soul inside of me. I know everything about her. Even now, her memories bubble through my mind as her identity is being washed away.
Shut up.
Ah, yes. She confessed romantic feelings for you. That was very painful for her because she knew how much she had lied to you. It seems to be all she thinks about right now. No thoughts of her family or friends, not even the Guardian. She only thinks of you. She drowns in the guilt.
That just proves you don't know Star at all, I yell. She's kinder and smarter and more powerful than you can ever imagine. You never truly know what it's like to know Star or know anyone because you are consumed by your quest for power.
It is a quest for something new.
He hissed.
Something must change.
We all move back about a foot. Carl shuts his mouth again, but his teeth can't lock together. They're being pulled apart by a bright pink orb. It's working! Keep pulling! I hear Machi's reel again and turn over my shoulder to watch it connect to my dad's back. Even he's trying to pull. Machi's added power lets me yank the orb out of a few more inches. Krell lets his eyes half close. The fire in his eyes and on his head dwindle and is replaced by a pink glow. The orb is also glowing brighter. Leave her alone, I yell. I brace my left foot hard on his belly so I can kick at his jaw with my right. Kick, 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 each one harder than the last. He has to open his mouth eventually if I just keep at it. All around us, more of the black, dead trees appear from the ground. At first, we all look and prepare for danger. The trees are person-shaped, like a cross between a spooky Halloween tree and a Lord of the Rings ent.
They're just illusions.
James calls out.
Ignore it. He's getting desperate.
The trees reach out and they grab us. 1 second, we're a full unit, combining our strength to pull the orb. The next, I hear one brother after the other cry out in surprise as they're wrenched from our chain and thrown through the air. Krell releases his grip on the ribbon and tries to claw me. I jump back, and the ribbon retracts, releasing the orb. One tree picks up my dad and slams him hard on the ground. Another tightens his vine around Peter, strangling him. Another has picked up Henry's hammer and is chasing him with it. I cry out and use the guardian fist on the one strangling Peter. It splinters into a million pieces of wood and falls to the side. Daniel thrusts a spear to cut Peter free from the vines, and I rush over to my dad. Dad, come on, be alive,
I'm fine, Janie.
he says as he groans. He's attacking tree, moves towards us, and I destroy with a well-placed kick. Daniel's spear, the one holding the hammer. But before it dies, it throws the hammer to Krell. It looks like a toy in Krell's hand. He swallows the orb again.
I thank you, Jane. You were right. I didn't know Star very well. I took the time to really sink into her soul to see what else was truly on her heart. She's very clever even now. All of those volatile emotions about her love for you was a mask to hide her secrets. For example, her rare skill to create solid illusions while in the spirit world.
He tosses the hammer into the air. A pair of glistening marble blocks appear above him and slam together with an incredible force. The hammer shatters into jade dust, leaving only the ornate handle. Krell takes the handle and blows dragon fire at it, turning it into cinders.
For a being like me, that is nearly unlimited power.
I feel my heart breaking. I failed. He can use Star's ability to their fullest. There's no way I can do anything against that. Punching harder wouldn't matter if the physical reality of the battlefield was his to control. It's over. We have to go. I pull out Machi's whistle and blow it 3 times. Horrifying creatures materialize out of nowhere. A pack of wolves whose fur look like it's made of lightning bolts. A massive cloud man with thunder for a voice. Beautiful, wispy woman with black hair, red lips, and a ghost body. Krell is creating illusions of spirits, but illusions that might have their same spirit powers. Peter, take Dad. He drops his weapon and scoops up Dad from his crouched position. Daniel thrusts through one of the wolves with a spear, while James throws a heavy guardian fist punch at the cloud man. We're going, I yell. He's too strong.
Nah, we can take him.
Henry yells back.
No, we can't.
Daniel says. He spins the jade spear around 3 more times, piercing wolf after wolf.
Get moving. I'll cover you.
I punch Daniel in the ribs. He doubles over, and I take the spear from him. Sorry, I can't let Hannah cry. Machi's lure hooks onto Daniel and pulls him back into the mortal world in the blink of an eye. We keep retreating. Machi pulls Peter and Dad next, then Henry. Krell creates monster after monster to attack us while he casually strolls along. He's covered in a pink aura. Even the turquoise cracks in his body turn into pink ones. Just how much of her power was he absorbing into himself?
Go first, Jane.
James insists. No. He doesn't get a chance to argue. Machi hooks him and he's pulled from the battlefield.
Yeet.
I flourish the spear. According to the plan, Andrew should have been the first one back to the mortal world, to the Haruk clan center. The Krell feels like following us. They'll have to take on whatever force Uncle Robert gathered. So that only leaves me. Machi just has to hook me and then make a run for it. The lure and string afloat through the air, but Krell snaps out with his hands like a striking snake and grabs it.
A seeker spirit. So that's how you've been able to escape. You continue to impress me. You are like me, Jane. The Haruk are known for solving problems to impress me. The Haruk are known for solving problems with their fists, but you've gone beyond what you were. You are no longer defined by your physical power, just as I am no longer defined by the title of Spirit of Pride. I am more. I am something new. A creature with dragon fire, Arcasi illusions, and so much more.
He holds out his hand, revealing the blackthorn vines. They start to wrap around Machi's fishing line.
I could also become a seeker spirit and travel as I will between the spirit world. Join me, Jane. Add your power to mine, and you will live forever. Your soul could even be reunited with Star.
The reel cranks louder as it tries to free itself from Krell's grasp. Krell is then dragged a few inches forward. He turns to look at the line in his hand. It's glowing blue.
The Guardian is here.
He whispers. I close the distance in a blink of an eye. All the power inside me that was threatening to burst out of my body erupts in one punch. I throw everything into my left fist, landing the strike at its dead center point. It flies through the air very far and very fast. He releases the line, and his concentration for the illusions have faltered. I run. I feel slow at first, then I start to breathe and draw in the unlimited amount of energy here in the spirit world. My body starts to feel normal, and I begin a full-on sprint in pursuit. Then my energy control returns, and I'm able to use the Guardian Fist, making great bounds through the air. Andrew, you idiot. I hope Maji has sent him home by now, but if he hasn't, I need to give him time. This is my last plan anyway. If this doesn't work, I have nothing left. Krell hits the ground and rolls to catch himself. He bounces up the stairs and through the massive entrance where I hear him crash to a complete stop. He's inside the old Haruk temple now, the one with the giant spider in it. I follow him inside.
And that's where we'll end tonight. Thanks as always to Autumn Dang for her Herculean performance as Jane Choi, the narrator. Thanks to Paige for her performance today as Dad and Henry. Velvet Divine has been Fernanda, Mom, and Peter. Marisa Roggeveen has been Ivy, Archer. We're ended. Hannah and Machi. Nicole Gapero has been Tristan and Krell today. Thank you all so very much for this, and we'll see you next week for the last 30 pages and our wrap-up. Have a great night.